Here we are. Melissa, Nicole, and I am Mara. Hmm.
I feel joy because what 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 I added, what came after you said here we are was we did it. We're here. We're here like we said we would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And in a way here is Maria, you're still in Boston. Melissa
Yes.
and I are here in a part of Ontario that I'm not sure what it's called.
It has a lot of snow and it's very cold.
It's been frigidly cold.
Yeah.
So cold and dry. And we're here with Melissa's partner Jorge and her three kids, who are 8, 7, and 5, at a retreat center. And we held space on Saturday for a rage club where there were 8 of us.
Yeah, that was partly sourced and held and organized by my sister, which came as a consequence of sharing legends and liquid states, sending her a message from the last training I went to after doing a standing rage hold. And she declared, yeah, with bravery and unknowingly, she wanted this here for her and her circle and her friends. And it happened on Saturday.
Hmm. Will you briefly explain or describe a standing rage hold for anyone who does not know?
Yeah, so in October, I went to New York where I met you, Mara. I was there for 1 week before I met you, and in the first training, the Expand the Box, we did a standing rage hold where I had two women who were facing the opposite direction and putting their shoulder and their, yeah, we linked arms, their shoulder, their hips into me, and another woman on the other side and one person standing in front of me, not too close. But that was role playing someone that I chose, and and then one person keeping them safe behind them. And the invitation when the space holder said go was to fully rage and say what I had to say to that person. And I did. And I said all the fuck yous and what the fuck and the very high intensity rage that is just like unreasonable, just really unreasonable. And then we went for, I don't even know how long. My assumption is something like 2 minutes. Kind of went timeless. But then we paused and I got some feedback and coaching. And then we went again. I went again raging. And what happened as I was pushing and feeling was that my body, for like the first time I think in my whole life, I stood erect, like in my body, more incarnated than I had ever been, and had this sensation of just, I'm fucking here. This is my body. I declare I am alive. And this experience of what I call dignity, because what other word would I use for that experience? Moving through all my bodies. Yeah, so that was my experience of my rage hold. And I called my sisters. It's like, I fucking want this for you. And my one sister was like, no, thank you. My other sister was like, I want this. How? When? When can you come? So we've
Wow.
been organizing for since October, the last months. And she actually had to become something that she wasn't a few months ago, which was a space holder, someone who can hold space for wanting something and organizing it without knowing how to do it. And she did it. And she actually is doing it again in the beginning of March. I just spent the last 2 hours with her, and about half of our time together was that organizing the next space because people have reached out to her asking to do it again and wanting more.
Mm. Go.
Yeah.
So will that will be a space that happens the day before we fly back to BC.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool.
Yeah. And we're here now, Nicole and I, starting to prepare to leave the space where we are in a day or two and start voyaging to uh, there's a little bit of in between, but then on Saturday, we'll be driving together with one or two other people who are doing the training. I believe it's like an 8 or 9 hour drive from Toronto to the training center where Sunday morning it starts, 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I want to I want to go back to what you said about Stephanie becoming someone who had
Mm-hmm.
done something that she didn't know how to do.
Yeah.
And because I this is something I've heard each of us talk about, that when we committed back in November to to go to the Woman of Earth Extended, that we were each really clear that we needed to become a version of ourselves that we weren't yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a big part of, like, we made it here, like to this call for one that we said we would do, and also to the stage we're each at in our becoming the one, the version of ourself who will get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wild to me how there was this there was this I had especially about 2 weeks that ended last Sunday where I did not know if I would make it. And I had still become the woman who could, but not about the money part. The, like, I was ready to go. I just needed this amount of money more to be able to cover the costs. And I was doing this experiment where I wasn't asking for what I wanted because I didn't want to ask for what I wanted. And I was doing what I wanted to do instead. And this what unfolded was this sequence of events where, by what I chose and didn't choose, and by what happened around me that other people chose and didn't choose, all of a sudden someone was asking if I would, if they said, I want to give you the money you need, can I give it to you? And it was up to me to answer. And I had reconciled myself so fully to that staying home and not going would be amazing. But I had just answered their question, which was, what would the consequences be of you not going? And when I said what the consequences would be of not going, which were that I would not have the initiation processes that would be available to me if I did go, and I would not have the relational experiences, um, kind of, in which offers would be made, proposals would be made, next steps would be made, where, like, seeds of collaboration, I would miss being where these seeds of collaboration were being sown and starting to sprout. And it was when I look back, I see this perfection of how it unfolded, in that this was what I was choosing between. I wasn't choosing between, had I become the woman, because I just had, I could have the money if I said yes. I was actually choosing if I would say yes to the money and go. And it was, you know, this, I anticipate that it's likely that if I look back on my life in decades to come, that that moment of choice, this will be the path that I'm on from that moment of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how by now my fears about going into the United States, my fears about my safety going into the United States and what I might be exposed to or I might find myself, have all dropped. It's not to say I won't start feeling scared as the border crossing, say, comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
And I would love for each of you to talk about some of the things you've noticed about yourself as
Mm-hmm.
you've become the woman that you are here now today, as distinct from who you were when you made the commitment to where you signed up, you registered to go to the Woman of Earth Extended.
Yeah. What came to me as I was listening to you speak about becoming the woman who actually go is the one who goes to the training, or is also the one who's okay with not going because there's so much trust in your path. And I was thinking, like in my head, I was just like, wait, how did she know what that woman looked like, what that woman did? Like how that puzzle piece. And I'm realizing, like right now in real time, about my own journey that I created rules in the beginning. Like what I was committing to, I realized is like I created rules. Like, okay, the type of woman I need to become to go to this training is someone who, like, is constantly doing feelings work and is absolutely not, you know, like falling apart, like able to handle myself and my money, someone who doesn't fall back on numbing patterns, or basically kind of like creating this non-human version of myself like within like 2 weeks of like, okay, then being that woman, that's the woman that's going to go. And I've been crashing out in fear the past like week and this week, and I'm laughing because I feel joy about how much I'm seeing my spiral, my own cycle of creation that happens like month to month, or as I get closer to something like this training that's really going to, like, I'm already on my edge and it's going to push me completely off my edge to where I can fly. And but that process is not pretty. It's not comfortable. It's like and so I've been in the and being like, oh my god, and I'm not that person that I said I had to be, and beating myself up about it, and like, and isolating myself, taking myself away from what actually gives me life, which is connecting with other women who are being real and raw and honest and transparent about their path. You know, like having eyes into each of your paths is so monumental for me, because it's like a constant reality check of like, okay, she did that, I can do that. Or like, oh, she's falling apart, I'm also falling apart. Like, it's okay. Yeah, I'm not alone. Like, oh my God. And so it's like I've come back home to myself. Like I do this thing where I run out and I go and I'm on a mission, and then towards the end of the mission, like this thing that we call gremlin, which is really my survival strategies and trying ways of keeping myself safe to stay the same so that so I don't die. Uh are like all of a sudden up in flames and just like, oh my god, consuming me. And my core thing is like, I already am the being and the woman that's going to
Yeah.
the training.
I will leave.
Okay.
I will go take care of my children so Jorge can go into an initiation process online for his second last ETV call. And yeah, I feel sad to leave you. So,
Yeah, I feel sad that you're leaving because I want you here.
so I will listen to the recording and I will likely call you soon.
Yes.
Like,
Will you create a video and share it in the group of your story, like how we're explaining, we're sharing?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the woman I
Okay.
became.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you
Yay.
for the invitation. Bye for now.
Thank you, Melissa. Hmm. what I what I realized, and what I'm still realizing, because I keep having to come back and remember that, like, because of who I was when I committed to the training, like I already knew that I am the being and the woman that goes to the training.
Mm.
And that it starts with me, and that my that that it's simple. It's this ability to come back to my center,
Mm.
to be in my center and ride the waves. Because as I keep going, it's not like the challenges or the hurdles that come up are going to go away.
Yeah.
It's that, how am I going to approach it? How am I going to, yeah, like what am I going to do? I have all these tools, and it comes from me. It comes from within me.
What's the it?
That it is the the it is stability, is knowing, is truth, is my own authority.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, standing in my authority. So yeah, I'm getting sued. Yeah, I might uh the money might, like, I don't know, whatever. The point is, like, whatever the waves are, that like I'm still in my own authority. I choose for my life. I make my own decisions, and I am not overpowered by illusions of craziness. I
Mm.
feel like I lost it. I don't know.
Something that comes to me hearing you as you were saying those things was that there's a I related to the sense that I've grown or refined in myself, that this is my life, and I I choose for me, and sometimes I have cross purposes happening, and it's still me choosing that, and I can radically rely on my own capacity and ability to handle what I create, so that when I do create from these cross purposes, I I can still handle it,
Mm.
and and that my own capacity and ability to regenerate, like to to kind of think that I just can't go any further and then have a process, or I think I can't go any further and I take myself to bed, or I think I can't go any further, and and then the doorbell rings, where between me and my commitment to be and do what I'm here to be and do on planet Earth in these times, and the Earth's Coincidence Control Office, it will work out. Like I will fulfill my purpose. I will live my purpose. And I can't always, I can't claim to know what that's going to look like or really what that's going to be. But for a long enough time by now, my my clarity is that I am here to co-create the emergence of another culture that I've started to call archiarchy. And in order to grow into the next version of myself who can do that even more and more effectively and consequentially, I wanted to get to this training because it was so clear for me that the the dismantling and the upgrading of thoughtware and patriarchal structures in myself into archon structures, one of the things that is noticeable to me is how it goes between me and other women,
Mm.
where I still go into these unconsciously shift identity into to to it's like old identities that I learned to go into so that I wouldn't get bullied at school. So I wouldn't get the girls to corner me in the change room and beat me up before gym, you know, and so they, and it so I wouldn't get the girls to, you know, team up against me. And something like grade 3 or 4, the girls in my school made a hate Nicole club. So I have these deep, I have these wounds, and I have these ways that I strategize to survive what was happening that I want to dismantle. I want to have so much more access to possibility in collaboration with women than I've had so far.
Mm.
And I wondered, like, what would you say, Mara, about this particular training being one that was like, that's for me? Do you know where that commitment, that yes, came from?
Yes, it came actually before I knew the training was happening. So I was at the lab in New York, the one that happened after Melissa was saying the ETB, and Melissa was there, and we were doing a uh, experiment, a practice of speaking from different ego states. And so when it came time for me to speak from my archetypal ego state, my archetypal lineage, I became so overcome by this huge stand that I take for women to be completely themselves, to show everything, and to find and source from their innate wisdom that they're born with onto this earth that comes from the richness of Gaia, because we are all actually a part of Gaia. And for all women to become visible, and yeah, my anger about constructs of beauty and what a woman means and their value and how it's decided in patriarchy, and just like it just becomes yeah, it takes over me of just like, oh my god, this, I absolutely stand for women. And I stood up and like Vera was like, are there any shares? And I was like, yes. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I take a stand for women. Like, I'm, yeah, I take a stand for women. I want women to be visible and be seen and be heard and be appreciated. And she's like, okay, what's your next step? And I was like, I don't know. And then she's like, well, there's a training, a Woman of Earth training coming up in February. And I was like, great, I'll see you there. So, yeah, part of me feels like I called it into existence.
Wow, cool. So you actually made the commitment to be at this Woman Earth Extended that much more before the sign up part that I suppose
Yeah.
I assumed that that's when you made the commitment.
Yes.
There I go, making assumptions again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I didn't even fully connect until like right now,
Hmm.
actually. You know, to me, it was just like, oh, that was another thing that happened.
I'll let myself off the hook then.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, when you were kind of saying those words that you said, like speaking in that voice, maybe not as much as you did at the time, but this, something about this is keeps cracking open a little bit more in me. The something like the doesn't seem like a big enough word, but the significance of this convergence and this movement, the movement and the convergence at this time in this place of these women, it, like I get this phrase over and over again that it is a seed event, and that it's like a seed bomb. A seed
Mm,
bomb is going to go off
totally.
in, you know, February 15th and, you know, the week later when it ends. And I hear myself saying it in different ways when I say to someone, there's so many times I've met a woman in the last 3 to 4 weeks where it comes out. It's like I've got to let them know about this movement because they are a woman of earth.
Mm.
I know them as a woman of earth through whichever whatever means, whatever territories, whatever qualities that they particularly embody. I can look at them and say, you are a woman of earth. And they, in a way, they're like, of course I am, or well, thanks for noticing, like, or wow, I am. And this the Women of Earth website says something like, women carry within us the seeds of a new culture.
Mm.
And I would even say that there are ways that, from my experience of being a woman for 55 years now, or being female on planet Earth for 55 years now, I I have uh, these stores of information in me that inform what archiarchy, it inform things about archiarchy, about how it goes, or more clearly, how it doesn't go. My experience, especially raising four children in patriarchal culture, as someone who was not here for that, was so painful, but it made almost like a negative image of something that I started to see more and more clearly could be possible. About all the things that don't work for women, for children, for the fathers of of children, you know, women's partners, and whatever kinds of partners a woman might have. This lack of village and lack of integrity for taking radical responsibility, and also this lack of aliveness, especially that comes from emotional numbness. And I'm like so ecstatic to think that there are these women who are moving towards this training space where we'll create this space of training, empowerment, initiation, transformation, and then we'll converge as seeds, as some of them are, some of the women are like, that, okay, we're transplanting ourselves in this space, and then we're going to transplant ourselves over here for a bit, and grow archiarchy, like drop fruit from trees of archiarchy, more than seeds, but those fruits have seeds in them. And there's so many women that I want to know that this exists.
Mm.
Wow. And as I have been living for 2 years with this archetypal lineage of being an ambassador for archiarchy, it's in a way it's more succinct and clear to be an ambassador for the woman of earth, an ambassador of that movement, and a bridge. And I love that this is what ended up becoming created in our 3 cell with Melissa, is that we would create this bridges for women of earth, and not just for women, but
Mm-hmm.
for women of earth, the movement, the woman of earth, that men also can walk on those bridges. They can come to different spaces and series and be, fed by what the woman of earth bring.
Mm.
I, I don't know if this is really the word, but I I'm so lucky. I think I'm so lucky. I think I'm one of the luckiest people I know, that I get to do this, that I get to be there, that I get to be on this adventure
Mm.
with you and Melissa and these other women, and women I don't even know yet, and women I may not meet for still years and years,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
including, women who haven't been born yet.
I'm just really letting land everything you just said of being seeds, and then from the training sprouting out and spreading and it growing, and just like this real, yeah, way of nurturing the soil, nurturing the web of women of earth, of the movement, of the culture we're creating. And something relaxes in me hearing all of this, and I feel glad that that we've created this way of like sharing how personally it touches each of us, and the journey, like now we get to see where the seeds go
Mm.
and what sprouts, and then hey, do you want to like swap seeds, like, and like what does that look like? And um yeah, I feel really excited to be going to this training, to feel what it's like to be with women who are so committed to their lives and to this earth and to being together and creating a way of being where we're not at war with each other or ourselves. And yeah, like the timing with what's happening in the world, and it just feels so divinely timed to be coming together, to be creating something that, like, I feel so angry because I've been at war with myself, for forever, and then hiding that war from other women and other people so that I don't look weak. And so and it's all this, for me it's been just like a bundle of like, let me hide and not really reveal that, like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just trying to look or present a certain way
Mm.
so that I'm not the target of the war. And yeah, in my emotional healing process earlier, I underneath all my fear was this rage of, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play this game, and I feel like I have to.
Mm.
And I want something else, and I don't know yet how it goes. And that's why I'm so excited about this training, because it's a playing ground to experiment and to be real and raw and find out what works and what doesn't work, and what is my part in all this? What can I actually do and take action on, and not just speak about or whatever.
I'm glad you said the part about war and this this inner war that I'm it's like, oh, I'm like, wow, I'm finally learning how to do something else than be at war with myself.
Mm.
Similar to you, trying to prove that I'm this and not that, that I'm good, not bad, that I'm right but not too right, and not too wrong either, but I'm safe. And I'm daring more and more to let what I have on the inside that I want to say, that I want to do, that I want to exist, to to put my action into that and not other things.
Mm.
And there's so many like victories along the way where I did it. I did this thing that I'd never been able to do. Or I did this thing that I'd been able to do in these circumstances, but not these circumstances. And this is really what I have in me. And it was hard to say in these circumstances. And that the war making attitudes and beliefs and opinions and don't know, habits, it's really habits,
Mm-hmm.
are slowly but surely being dismantled, dissolved, reformed into becoming someone who is for not war, and it's not peace. The opposite of war is not
Mm-hmm.
peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's the up like instead of being for war, I'm for radically regenerative co-creation. And I just think how cool when enough people have shifted into the version of themselves that is not for war, that is for radically regenerative co-creation. Like it could happen so fast that desertified, polluted ecosystems just get regenerated. They
Mm.
get loved and lived with, and the compressed earth gets dug up, or a bunch of worms get thrown on there and tended, and this shit over here becomes compost over here, and this waste over here becomes buildings over there, that and it could all be so different. And I for me it's so exciting to be alive in these times, to see this turn happen.
Mm.
And and yeah, there's still this like, and maybe I it won't. And what I have about that is that this is still my path. No matter what happens with the multitudes, with the majority, whatever happens, this is my path, and everyone is invited.
Mm.
Is there anything else you want to say for the record here, as
Mm.
as the version of ourselves that is in the before video?
Oh my God.
And wow, and then we'll be having another recorded call after the training, that then we'll speak more to our experiences of how it went through the training. And I won't be surprised if we want, in a month or two, to have another call, like and then what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this documentation could be really useful for other people who are daring to pick up these commitments and take these kinds of stands, and who are looking for teammates, more tools or maps or processes to use. I mean, just like the abundance of empowering stuff that comprise this great big toolkit that possibility management is. Uh, yeah, I can't recommend it too much. Like it's just so useful.
Mm. I just feel so nourished by everything that you say. And I feel really glad because I'm going to meet you in a week.
Yeah, we've never been in person.
Yeah.
uh, I have this thing where sometimes I forget that I had it in a call with Jordan this morning. I was like, wait, have we been in person together? And then I got clear. It's like, no, I don't know how tall she is, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what she looks like from the side. And that's two
Mm-hmm.
things you don't get over Zoom. But everything else it's so cool to have had Zoom encounters, and then this in-person encounter that just kind of fills in these things that they just aren't experienceable in 2D.
Mm. Yes. This is what I have. I feel scared because in my mind is like I want the perfect thing to say to sign off or to leave it at that, to like for this time capsule, to like look back and be like, "Oh." And I feel like I've said what rings true for me. And if I were to go on another topic, we'd be here for like 2 more hours, I think, because I was about to be like, so say more about dismantling. And it's like, well, that could be a whole other call.
Wow.
you
Wow.
know? Like, I have an urge to really share the. I feel like, or I have a sense that maybe, we are in the possibility management language. And so, someone watching this, it's like, okay, well, what does that mean that Mara did an emotional healing process today? And
Right.
what does that mean that Nicole is dismantling war inside of
Yeah.
herself?
Did I do thoughtware upgrades?
Yeah, and what the hell is thoughtware?
I would so love if anybody seeing this ever just would reach out to one or of the three of us with any
Mm-hmm.
questions like that and be like, will you just say more? I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, it would take hours to kind of unfold every little underlined word or phrase that we use that someone's like, I don't know what that is. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't know what they are. So, yeah, please, anyone watching, reach out if anything, yeah, kind of made you go, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to hear from you, the person who is watching, what came alive in you as you heard our stories and as you hear what we're talking about, and our mission in going to the training and what it takes. And yeah, share your passion, share your sadness, share your fear, share your joy, share your anger. I want to hear all of it. I am on your team as much as you are on ours. And that's how this goes.
That that gives me something I do want to add, which is that in in the work that we do, there's a really fast turnaround. And what I mean by that is that when I am initiated in some way, my next thing to do would be to turn around and deliver that initiation or hold space for that initiation for somebody else. And this is part of what makes the potential for change to become so fast. And so the each of us are going to this training as trainers and trainers in training to turn around and deliver what we encounter, what we experience, what we learn. And so if there are things that any of you who are watching are maybe clear about, that in this territory, in like, this is something you want to learn how to do differently, you want different results about this,
Hmm.
one or more of us probably have worked with that somehow at some time, or we know somebody who has and still does, or and this is what I so love about this work, is that instead of it being a triangle of someone at the top who knows the things and then the people at the bottom who are figuring it out, or keep having to pay the person at the top for more, it's really this circle of teammates who are all cycling into, in a way, like cycling, like going first about some things and then following someone else about something else, or learning from somebody else about something else, and it goes around in this toroidal shape. And and the research that's happening in the field at large is, it's like, there are not stones being left unturned.
Hmm.
So whatever you're challenged by in life, there's someone, one of us can, like, refer each other or refer to someone else about, especially when it comes to this part about healing from these wounds and these emotional wounds that happened in while you were growing up, or while you've been grown up, that seem to then kind of keep you from moving forward.
Mm. Yes. Yay.
Maybe we should get out of here before we start talking
I
again.
know. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
For watching.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.